What's up, YouTube? So I wanted to make this video last night, but my instinct said I should rest before I make this video. Now I'm awake, fully rested and recovered, so let's make this video. So I'm gonna quote something that my pal Jeddy said yesterday in a conversation where he was basically asking, how do you know anything is true? It has to be based on nature. Anything without a natural explanation is man-made and keeps you living in an artificial world, and that is near 100% of information. Shout out to Jeddy, because he's absolutely right. Some of the questions that I get from you guys, if you just observed nature, you would know the truth without me ever telling you anything, right? When it comes to women, how do you know what women like? How do you know, what'll make things easier when it comes to women? Now, the red pillars will tell you, typical shit, money and status, okay? Something you have to understand about money is that money is not natural. Money is a human invented concept. And the lie that we're told is that money is supposed to represent resources. This is an obvious lie because nobody has sat down and counted every physical. Hang on, I hate this fucking camera. I know, I gotta get another one. Nobody has ever sat down and counted every physical resource on planet Earth, okay? So, how would you make a system, a monetary system, designed to represent nature's resources? Simple. It's an illusion, it's a lie, right? But these groups will tell you that you need money and status to get women, where if you observe nature, okay, we can start as early as elementary school. The guys that all the girls were chasing even back then, okay, did any of those boys have money or status? No, because they were too young to know what money and status means. Now, people are going to wonder why I always use kids as an example. Oh, Chris, that's not fair. We are adults. We live in the real world. You should be using adult women as an example. Here's the trick, guys. If you want to observe a human being's true nature, you have to observe them when they're a child. Why? Because when a person is a child, they have not yet been taught deception. They have not yet been taught to hide their nature. Obviously, this varies depending on the parenting. Some people start brainwashing their children as early as 2 years old. But generally speaking, when a child is like, 4, 5, or 6, they have not yet been tainted by the world. They have not yet been brainwashed to go against what their nature is, right? You observe little kids playing, what do you see? The child who is physically the strongest will usually bully the other kids and basically take what he wants from them, right? Natural law. The strong rule the weak, the wise rule the strong. So the child that's the strongest will bully the weaker kids, and the children that are the most intelligent will usually have the strong children as like their wingman, like sort of like a gang, right? Yeah, this starts even in elementary school. It gets worse in middle school, and you really see it in high school, right? When children are young, women, they just naturally go for the boys that they are attracted to. And when boys are young, they just naturally go after the girls they're attracted to, right? Because they haven't been lied and taught all this bullshit that you need money and status to get women. It's literally nature verifying to you what is true. The major flaw with saying you need money to get chicks is that it's not represented in nature. You observe lions, right? Did a lioness choose to reproduce with the lion that has money or resources? No. The lioness chooses to reproduce with the lion that is either the physically strongest or the wisest in the pack. Same with wolves, same with bears, same with zebras, and yes, the same with humans. Okay? Now, something that people have got to understand is that how a woman reacts to you is natural. A woman's bodily fluids reacting to you is a natural reaction. You cannot take something that is unnatural, like money, and use it to stimulate that same emotion. Even resources, nature gives us all of the resources we ever need for free, basically. But, the powers that be seized all the resources and charge you a man made object money in order to access those resources. That's cool. Now, with other things that you guys have been asking me questions about, it's all the same shit, man. How do you, get better results at your job? How do you make more friends? How do you do this? How do you do that? It's all the same shit. If you ever want to know what is true and what is false, all you have to do is observe nature. All you have to do is observe the universe around you and see how things naturally operate without interference. We are a part of nature. As human beings, we are a part of nature. Unfortunately, a lot of us have been trained since birth to go against our nature, okay? When you really think about it, most people don't like working for money. Most people only do it because they have to, okay? When a person gets into a position where they feel like they don't need to work, they revert back to their natural habits. Laziness, because they already got the resources that they need, right? This insatiable appetite to just keep chasing woman, 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 like the red pillars tell you, right? When a man gets a girlfriend, what happens? He goes back to his nature and he becomes content with one woman and doesn't really look for other chicks, generally speaking. But we've been trained to do the opposite. We've been trained to be mindless animals that go around having sex with anything that moves. Both men and women are trained like this now. If you take nothing else in this video, guys, okay, don't just, because a lot of my recent comments, they've been specifically asking me to help them with women. You can use my advice to get chicks if you want, but don't just only use this stuff to get chicks. Otherwise, you're kind of wasting the advice, right? Anything you ever want to know, all you have to do is think, okay, what happens in nature? What happens in natural law? Because the truth is always represented in nature. If you've learned something and there is no natural correlation to it, what you probably learned is false. Now, in my older previous videos, I've taught guys that if it contradicts it, it's not true. And if you ever want to know if somebody's lying to you, you just let them speak, you let them say all their words, and then you wait and you wait and you wait. And if it contradicts it, it's not true. A more advanced tactic you can do is you don't even have to wait for any of that. Let somebody speak and then think about nature. If it does not have a natural representation, it probably isn't true. Shout out to Jeddy, because that was a dime. That was a fucking sapphire right there, man. A dime piece of knowledge. So yeah, guys. Women aren't complicated. The game isn't complicated. The game is based off of natural law. In my next video, I'm going to be talking specifically about that. But for this video, I'll be scrolling through the comments, guys. I'll be reading them. And a lot of the questions that you guys have, especially about women, all you have to do is observe nature, okay? The next time you're out in public, the next time you're actually leaving the house, which congratulations, you're already doing something that red pillars don't do, which is leave the house and go out and observe what's actually happening in the real world. The next time you're out and about at a bar or a club or something, observe women and observe who they are naturally attracted to. There's only so many rich people in the world, guys. All of these guys walking around with chicks can't be rich, but that's okay. Observe their personality trait, and the common variable you will notice is that men that do whatever the fuck they want without fear, those are the men that naturally attract the most women. When you're walking around afraid and scared, that's unnatural, okay? What happens to the cowards in nature? They get preyed upon by the predators, okay? What happens to the strong in nature? Okay? The strong are the ones that do the praying. What happens to the wise in nature? The ones that study the game, they're the ones that walk away with all the resources. So, this shit ain't complicated, guys. Don't be afraid. Leave the house. Observe nature. And if you ever want to know if something being told to you is a lie, all you have to do is think. Does it have a natural representation? If it does not, then the answer is yes. What you just heard is false. Catch y'all in the next video.